following the holiday attack on an American embassy and the president standing by his statement that it would not be another Benghazi, he makes a military strike against Iran. And the Democratic response?
Well, among others, Bernie Sanders called this a targeted assassination and raised concerns that the president is potentially getting the United States into a new armed conflict. So did Elizabeth Warren, who said that the last thing the United States needs is a costly war. Former Vice President Joe Biden said essentially that the president had dropped a piece of dynamite into an already explosive situation and that he owes the American people an explanation.
So let me get this straight. According to Bernie Sanders, a man who wants to be president, who would be commander-in-chief not only of our armed forces, but given the constitutional responsibility to not just preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, but the citizens of the United States. This man is saying that our president is guilty of committing an assassination. Let's see. We kill one who is responsible for the deaths of hundreds of American military personnel over the past 10 to 15 years, potentially saving thousands of other people by his removal. And Bernie Sanders, presidential candidate, calls that an assassination. And former Vice President, future nothing, Joe Biden, says that the president threw a stick of dynamite into an already explosive situation. Well, gee, Joe, what should we have done? If we take a page from the Barackmas-Obama administration, I guess we should just put a big pile of cash on a pallet and send it over there under the cover of darkness and try to pay them for killing us so that we can declare false peace? Yeah. Not happening anymore.
I thought this president was gonna end all these endless wars in the Middle East, and now he's dragging us even deeper in.
Pray tell, what are we supposed to do when we get attacked? Do nothing? What the president has stated repeatedly, what we support, what we understand to be the fallacy of the Bush doctrine, is this canard of regime change. That because we don't like a particular leader, he got go, we're going to put somebody pro-America in there, and in the end, it always blows up on us. It has never worked right. And by the way, talk about interfering in another nation's governance. Wow. That's what the president is opposed to. These so-called interventionist wars. Well, we're already in a proxy war with Iran. And you know, there comes a point where you can't always differentiate between who's right, who's wrong, who started, who said what. They made a strike against our embassy. Now, we can get conspiratorial. We can say that the CIA and the military-industrial complex set this up to look like and blame it on Iran. And by the way, I'm not saying that the vermin in the swamp and the intelligence communities aren't capable of such. And even if they did, again, what does the president do? Because seriously, and forgive me for saying it like this, even as a pastor, but in this situation, the president is damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. If he had done nothing, wanting to wait and see who was really behind this, was the CIA involved, was this another setup, why, it would be the Republicans and Democrats together screaming, he needs to do something, he needs to do something. He does something. The Republicans, yes, and I get it. I heard Lindsey Graham today, and we know he's a war hawk and a warmonger with his talk of, you know, this general was the fist of the Ayatollah, and by taking him out, he cut the Ayatollah's arm off. We know that retaliation is going to come from this. Could it escalate? It absolutely could. But at some point, we have to acknowledge the fact, look, Iran You're not real smart. The president has already made it clear he wants to pull our troops out of there. So you goad him into staying, sending more troops, reinforcing the era? Really? Really? And again, now we see that this strike has happened. Now Democrats are upset. They wanted him to go to immediate war with Russia over intervention in the election, over Ukraine, despite the fact Obama didn't give Ukraine a nickel, not one dime of military aid did they get when the Putin-Russian tanks were rolling in and taking over portions of Ukraine. Joe Biden bragging, if you don't call off the attack dogs on my son, you're not going to get your $9 billion in aid. They fired the investigator, still didn't get their aid. And yet they've tried to impeach this president over the presumption that we think he was going to withhold aid. Let me tell you just how nasty these vile, reprehensible Democrats, especially Pelosi Bin Laden, this strike that the president just did, I know all the other political pundits on the left and the right side of the aisle, they're going to make all their arguments, whether it's the Alex Jones, the Rush Limbaughs, the Sean Hannitys, yada, 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 fill in the blank. And you'll get a different perspective from Jimmy Dore, Cenk Uygur, Kyle over there at, the Sane Progressive or Secular Talk or whatever his show is. You'll get all the breakdown. Should we have made the strike? Shouldn't we have made the strike? Forget that. I'm going to give you something you're not going to get anywhere else but here. The president taking this military action is going to fuel a whole new set of charges for impeachment.
We did just get an update, however, from Speaker Pelosi's office, a spokesman, telling CBS News that last night the Defense Secretary Mike Esper requested a call with the Speaker after the strike had occurred. They connected Thursday night by telephone around 9:40 p.m. Eastern and had about a 13-minute telephone conversation, again, according to a Pelosi spokesperson. She had issued a statement last night signaling that she, like other top congressional leaders, did not get advance notice of this, which, of course, will stick in their craw today as they begin debating how exactly things should proceed from here. As she said, in part, America and the world cannot afford to have tensions escalate to the point of no return. Chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Eliot Engel, had said that the attack raises serious legal problems, and he said that according to the War Powers Resolution, the president is required by law to notify Congress within 48 hours. So we'll see whether that conversation last night between the Speaker and the Defense Secretary counts as part of that congressional notification, or whether there'll have to be something more formal once Congress gets back here overall.
Boom, there it is. Why? He didn't give us notification. He didn't bring us in. He didn't loop us in. He didn't tell Congress. He has acted outside of the boundaries of his authority. This is a war crime. This is the Democrats' next play, because the current impeachment is dead on arrival. It's a hoax. It's a scam. They're going to want hearings. They're going to want to produce witnesses. And somewhere, magically, Adam Schiff will have a whistleblower. Somebody inside the Pentagon that's going to say, no, really, it was the Pentagon generals telling the president, you can't do this strike. This is an assassination. We don't do that. And the president ignored the Pentagon. And he did it on his own, and they had to follow the order because he's the commander-in-chief. But really, there are generals that are greatly disturbed by this move. Here comes the next coup attempt. Here comes the next attempted takedown of President Trump. Watch my words. See if they don't try this. Now, on the one hand, they will try to portray it as a wag the dog. Oh, this is just to throw us off the impeachment scent. This is just to rally Americans under a false flag of unity, of war, and we have to do the right thing when this wasn't the right thing. Yet, for months, these Democrats have been screaming, how dare he pull troops out of the Middle East? Do you hear the flaming hypocrisy in all of this? Do you not understand the whole thing that drives these people is their visceral hatred of this man? And what is it about this man that before he was the president, they loved him? They all went to his parties. They all wanted to be invited to his weddings. They all wanted his money. They all wanted camera time with him. He was the Don. He was Donald Trump. They wanted to be at Mar-a-Lago. They wanted to be part of his world. When he became the president and they realized this guy really is not part of the establishment, he really does want to drain the swamp, he actually is governing more conservatively than Reagan ever did, he got to go. He's not part of our globalist agenda. He got to go. And instantaneously, he became this horrific villain. And they've even tried to turn the evangelical Christian community against him. This vile, reprehensible man. And you've got Christians out there saying, I don't know now. I don't know now. Despite the fact he has done more for the faith-based community than any other president we've ever had. And I got a book that's going to outline it and give you the full details of it. They hate this man because he stands in the way of the globalist agenda. And so now, no matter what he does, he gotta go. On the one hand, yes, the military-industrial complex, they are happy today. And again, did they set up the attack on our embassy to look like Iran? They may have. But right now, you have to go with the conventional, what we have before us is, it certainly looks awfully, nastily suspicious that Iran is in this up to their eyeballs themselves. And even if they were duped and used by the CIA to create this chaos and turmoil in the Middle East, bottom line is they hate America. We know that. They hate this president. We know that. And you know what? They didn't get bribes and payoffs and pallets of cash. They got a missile. Now, Lindsey Graham, who is a warmonger and has no problem sending your children off to war on any given whim, is right on this. If Iran wants to keep this up, let's just take out their oil refineries. I understand there's a self-interest of American wealth and capitalistic protectionism in doing that. There's also in crippling the enemy, and Iran is an enemy. You know, it's a good thing that we didn't have the same media environment during World War II that we have today, because the way we finally defeated the Axis powers, in particular the Nazis, Japan, we leveled the civilian population of their cities. We had to crush their will to make war. That's what has to be done. The Middle East is a simple scenario. It really is. And some of you hate it when I say this. We either pull out and let them be to themselves, make sure that we have well-funded and protected Israel, but let the rest of that sandbox over there and those 4th century thinking Islamic radical terrorists kill each other off. Make sure they don't make their way to our shores to wreak havoc here. Or we go all in. And by all in, I mean pull everyone that's near and dear and precious to us out of there, level it, and depending on your theological persuasion, let God or evolution reset the clock over there and they can start all over again. Maybe this time join us in the 21st century. But being a student of Bible prophecy, that ain't going to happen. Knowing what is actually going to happen over there, the president's right. Pull the troops out. make sure they behave themselves, and when they make moves against us, deal with them. That's what he did. Nancy Pelosi knows that's what he did, and yet you watch as they try to spin this into the next wave of impeachment. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and a like. Make sure you have smacked the bell for notification of all of my rants, that you're a subscriber to the channel. Come on over, check us out on BitTube, and don't forget, my new book on Donald Trump, it's coming.